we need to have that at the back of our mind. When Georgia took over as president, he was not that old. So it's not the first time you have a young person leading. So, but there's some expectation around the Senegalese situation, especially looking at how he came onto the scene. And I am expecting that he will rewrite the story. At least he will deal with corruption, he will deal with nepotism, and let Senegal be the example that everybody else would look at. He would need to make the case for young people to be given the opportunity so that the elderly would sit back and advise. You would need to make that case that we need young people to make for Africa, that wisdom does not just reside in the elderly, and that the young are able and capable of charting a new course for Africa. Senegal has tremendous amount of resources, natural and human. So let's see how he's able to put that to use for the benefit of the good people of Senegal. So we are all looking to him to make a case for we the young people to say that, look, when you give us leadership, we are able to understand what our other young people feel. We are able to walk in the shoes of the teeming unemployed young people. And we are able to build capacities of young people to go into business, to do politics that is clean, politics that is not muffled in corruption. We are able to get young people to rally around the flag and work for the country. We saw that in '79 when young people were marshaled to do things, to build. We don't expect the same situation where you just must, but we have a lot more educated young people now whose knowledge can be tapped and be put to good use. And so we expect that its leadership will bring that talent, that mass, critical mass of young individuals who have developed skills in various fields, and probably get Senegalese who are in the diaspora to come and support to build a new economy. So that Senegal will have a new paradigm that we all look at, probably becomes a star that we look at. That, to me, is what I expect.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Rich. Ambassador Sampiale has just joined us. Ambassador, good morning.
Good morning.
I trust you're fine. It's been a while, a long time.
Well,
except that we've been receiving your messages. You've been watching from the house. You are an ardent viewer. Aside being, a panel, you are also an ardent viewer of Pan-African television. You are one of our biggest fans, and we are extremely grateful.
Thank you very much. But the truth of the matter is that for some time I was not too well. So, well, the Senegalese experiment, let me call it experiment, is both fascinating and sometimes, I don't say scary, but it points out to one thing, that the power of the people is greater than the people who control the power of the people. You know the story of how this young man from nowhere has become a president all of a sudden. There's so much enthusiasm. And if you don't take care, you will somehow the equation to be that it's a youth experiment. As a person, I don't like the categorization of issues in terms of tribe, age, whatever, to the exclusion of others. You remember when this issue of women's emancipation came and the women were tilting all the way, that child, this child, this child. It's, in a way, alienated a cross-section of the people. What I want to accept is that a Senegalese has been elected as a president against all odds, and that looking at the trend of former heads of state of Senegal. That's why we had Thomas, is it?
No, Thomas was
Liberia. If you look at the trend of those who have been heads of state before, this appears to be the youngest. Not so. Yes, the old people say that if you see somebody's beard on fire, you go and sit by a tap. In Ghana, how do we treat our youth? How do we treat and talk about our youth? Our leaders talk about our youth as if they were some criminal non-entities or whatever you have. Remember your Minister for Trade, and is it Trade and Industry? Whatever his name. That man, the Minister of Trade. He said, why would Chile Katie Hammond? You know, that is the perception of leaders about our youth. Contrary to what you are saying, that the youth have a lot of talent. Also, they have critical talent, and they form the majority of the country. That's how some leadership look at our youth. Generally, how do we treat our youth? Apart from looking at them as coconut, whatever it is, bearded coconut idiots. The political divide, we look at our youth as being good for nothing than vigilantism. You mobilize them to go and hurt each other during political campaigns. And this is a trend that should cease forthwith. Because the kind of training the youth have received today, if a little girl is standing by you and you give her your computer, your phone, the thing the girl will do or the boy will do on your computer or your phone, you have no idea. That is to say that we should give all age brackets the chance to participate in our governance. You see what I mean? And Senegal had taken the lead. See, if you look at the trend in the Sahel from Eritrea across Chad to Senegal now, there's a certain wind blowing. Just that this is not a military takeover. This is the people's takeover. In Senegal, it's a people's takeover. Because the youth felt that, oh, now we have arrived. This was a young man who was just criticizing the government for certain things. No, this was a young man who said, no, you cannot amend the constitution and still be in power. Perhaps his vision was just for criticism's sake, right? But the government made him a hero and a politician overnight. So my expectation of him is not too high. My expectation of a young man is not too high. So that when he commits a mistake, then I will use that mistake to condemn him. I follow my trend. Yes, my expectation for him is that time and history has placed him where he is now. He must understand that he has a role to play in the history of Africa. He must understand that the whole of Africa is looking at him, especially our youth are looking at him for a certain breakthrough that, look, what an old man can do, a young man can also do. I am also believing that there are some experienced people in governance in Sierra Leone and Senegal who should be prepared to assist him drive the ship, captain the ship of Senegal to where it has to be. You know, but in the analysis and the summation of it, I think that the people of Senegal have shown that nobody, guns or without guns, you know, can take their power from them. So if somebody goes to stand and say, look, I will not hand over power to anybody, please know that the power you are talking about is not yours. The Constitution says this sovereignty is in the hands of the people. Even our law, council, even lawyers, we swear oaths. I mean, we do everything in the name of the Republic. That's why when Akufo-Addo write a writ and say that the president versus somebody, the court say no. It is the Republic versus that person. Nobody going forward, both in Senegal, Ghana, or anywhere, should underestimate the power of the people. Because you cannot stand it when the power of the people gets together. That's what I would say for now. But I congratulate him, and I hear he has a very interesting story of two wives, one a Muslim and one a Christian, is it? But
I don't know about the
one dresses like a Muslim.
He has 2 wives.
2 wives. It's another chapter in our history. All right. Unlike somebody who's hiding his first wife, this one has exhibited the 2 wives. You know, somebody is hiding his first wife, but this one is exhibiting them. That is sincerity, also.
Yeah.
Yes, the people have voted for him, knowing that he had 2 wives.
He actually declared his assets.
Assets. He had declared his assets. So nobody should hide his first wife. All of us believe that and know that you have 2 wives. So don't let us hide your first or second wife. Bring them on, so that you see, Chief. I am setting on this because see, if the 2 of them have a right together, and then the right is exhibited and narrowly to this one, he will flip him. No so. Can't someone do flip him?
Yes.
Anyway, what? Can't say. I'm saying that the Senegalese president now, he's been courageous to exhibit his 2 wives.
No, you see, Eji,
yes,
he's an honest one.
But
he's an honest one.
Yes, he's an honest one.
So let's. The Senegalese one is an honest one.
Yes, but I'm saying that leadership goes with honesty.
Yes.
Last time you were talking about it and
yes,
that leadership goes with honesty.
Yes.
And I'm saying that, and please get it noted that I've said it, that the Senegalese president, borrowing your word, has been honest.
Exactly.
And we have dishonest leaders.
Oh, so you just leave it like Ghanaians understand what people are saying.
Dishonest leaders hide their first wives. I leave it as that.
Exactly. Ghanaians know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Thank you very much. We are done with the African story. We'll come back to Ghana. We are looking at some comments made by the leader of the Movement for Change, Mr. Alan Kojo Chemanting, over the weekend during the Easter Sunday convention. He was at the Dr. Thomas Wyatt Assembly of the Church of Pentecost, and he made some comments in relation to the upcoming elections. He says, and I may not be saying the exact words, but I'll try to paraphrase. He said, Ghana is a Christian country, so we should have a Christian president. I'm glad that I have Councillor Apia Dankwa here. He is an integral member of the Movement for Change. And it appears, and I mean, from the lenses through which Ghanaians would look at this, we are a country where interfaith harmony, we've coexisted, for a long time without any issue. So why should politicians start reminding us of their religious affiliations and where they belong to and where they are not in? Because I remember it was only a few months ago that the vice president met the Muslim community, and then he made some comments. The comments he made, he said that he has been selected to lead the New Patriotic Party because he is a Muslim. I wish we had that video. I asked my producers to get me that video. If we have that video, let's play it. Do we have it? Do we have that video of the vice president meeting the Muslim community and telling them that he has been selected to lead the NPP because he is a Muslim and that he is one of them? And when he becomes president, he will be the first Muslim president in the history of this country. So they should support his cause. Do we have it? Right, we do not. But these comments have been made, over time. And just recently, your leader, the leader of the Movement for Change, he made similar comments that Ghana is a Christian country. Majority of Ghanaians are Christian, so we should vote for a Christian president. Your comments on that?
Yeah, so, because I'm speaking, and personally, I do not see anything wrong with what Alan said. In fact, I think what he said was even appropriate. Exactly what Ghanaians need. Now, see what he said, actually said was, I said Ghana is a country with 72% Christians, so essentially we are Christian, and we need a president who is not only a Christian, but who has Christ-like leadership. And for me, that's what, as in, that qualification, that Christ-like leadership is what makes this statement one of the best statements we've ever heard in this country. Because the question you should be asking yourself, first of all, what is Christ-like leadership? Because if you want to really interrogate what Alan said, then you need to take your time and interrogate what Christ-like leadership is. And what the impact of that Christ-like leadership has had in the history of this world. Because personally, I'm a Christian, and the impact of Jesus Christ on this world cannot be understated. In fact, we can't argue over the impact of, to the extent that right now, even the way our calendar is AD, is named after Christ's scheme. You understand? First of all, that tells you the impact Christ had. Two, when we say Christ-like leadership, what do we mean? Yes, because if we need to understand this, then we start questioning the people who are raising issues as in terms of they themselves. What kind of leadership have they exhibited, or what is their focus? Because you see, when you are talking about Christ-like leadership, you can break it down to three things. You can look at Christ-like leadership in terms of the character. You can look at Christ-like leadership in terms of the purpose. You can look at Christ-like leadership in terms of strategy. Now, when you talk about Christ-like leadership, Jesus Christ, what character did he exude when he came into this world? Because you must also appreciate for us Christians, we believe that Jesus Christ is God. Even the Muslims, when you go to the Muslims, the Quran don't agree that Christ is God, but then because they use the word Christ is, in describing Christ, one of the words is Ruh Allah. You see, he's the spirit of God. So they also agree that he is not also just a mere man. Now, so then the question is, what was the character of Christ? Now, to understand what did Christ say, or what did Christ exhibit in terms of character in his understanding of leadership? So what character should a leader have? Now, when you read the Bible, you read the book of Galatians 5, I think verse 22, where...
Are you sure you are quoting right?
Hey, so you can check for me. Galatians 5:22. yeah. All I go look, Galatians 5:22. Right? So Galatians 5:22. I haven't said what is there. He asked what I'm sure. So Galatians 5:22, about the fruit of the Spirit. About the fruit of the Spirit. So that you see, and to just give a background, as in when you have become a born-again Christian. You see, and there's a reason why Alan said Christ-like, because he was not talking about nominal Christians here. No, we have nominal Christians and we have born-again Christians. You understand? And we all know that when you read the Bible, unless you are born-again Christian, you can't exude that Christ-like character. Now, when you read the Bible in Galatians 5:20 or 6:20, it talks about the fruit of the Spirit. So after you have become a Christian, the Spirit has the Holy Spirit has taken over, you exhibit some fruit. One of those key fruits is integrity, love, compassion. You understand? Now, we are here talking about our struggles because of lack of honest leadership. Well, my brother here was talking about honest leadership and was referencing me to our discussion on Saturday, where I went on and on about honest leadership. And we all agree, I think we can't have a debate on that we need honest leadership. Now, how can you be guaranteed of honest leadership unless the person who's your leader is exhibiting Christ-like leadership? See, where we are, we need a leader who exhibits the character of Jesus Christ himself. Talk about integrity, talk about compassion, talk about the fruit of the Spirit as has been described in Galatians 5:22. Now, if at the end we agree that Christ, when he came into this world, you understand, showed us how we can become the best of ourselves. In basic things, say what? Love your neighbor as yourself. If you're a leader and then you understand that you need to love your neighbor as yourself, then you won't just go and construct your rules, the rules leading to your house, you understand, and then leave everybody's road. If you understand that you need to love your neighbor as yourself, and then you're a leader, you won't take or abuse the resources available to you by going to hospitals in very developed countries when you have not developed your own hospitals. If you understand what it means to that golden rule, love your neighbor as yourself, then you won't create a situation where you impoverish everybody. You understand? There are people in your country who are studying under trees. You understand? People can't have. You see, may you so rest in peace, John Kuma. We all saw the MPP party headquarters but in EJISU, and the state of the hospital at EJISU. If you are exhibiting Christ-like leadership, one of the basic tenets of which is love your neighbor as yourself, are you going to do that?
Preach.
You understand? Now, in terms of what leadership means, Jesus Christ in Matthew 20:26. Understand? And you know all these things. You see, you didn't tell me the topic. You just told me the topic. Go to Matthew 20:26. And Matthew 20:26, Jesus Christ says that if you want to lead, you must first learn how to serve. Now, unless you are servant, you can't lead. Ally, EJI. Hey, you have EJI. That if you want to lead, Matthew 20:26, if you want to lead, you must first be what? A servant. Servant leadership. The understanding that to lead really is to serve. You understand? Because if you have a Christ-like character, then statements made by Nanado that we've all condemned, that you didn't vote for me, that's why I'm bringing development to you. That arrogance of power that has been exhibited by Nanado Bawumia and these other people. I'm not saying that Allah's statement is backward. But I'm not you see, is right now a leader in a party that has been fooled by familiar spirits. I said it here. A party whose leaders don't find any issue in standing before Ghanaians and say, listen, we are not going to hand over power. Jesus Christ, in a democracy where all power belongs to the people. You understand? Because they don't understand that to lead is to serve. They think that to lead is to lord. You understand? And that's what they abuse power. So when somebody like Arnold Domprey, as dishonest as he is not the same Arnold Domprey who last year or two said that Alan was the head of the economic management committee. Do we have anything like that? And his Bawumia himself was speaking last time, and he said that there is an economic management which is a subcommittee in cabinet. So was he not being dishonest? You see Arnold Domprey as what's called deputy or majority chief whip, or you understand? Bless. Can you say Arnold Domprey is Christ like that? Does he show that humility, that integrity, that belief in the principle of do unto us others what you do unto yourself? These are people. As in, you just take these people. The current leadership we are seeing. The current leadership that has reduced this country on its knees. You see, they'll have an issue because they lack integrity, which certainly is familiar spirit. They don't believe in do unto others what you do unto yourself, which is an antichrist spirit. Yeah, that's the spirit they have exhibited. That's led all of us to the abyss to the abyss. Because why, if you understand that Christ-like leadership represents all the best qualities of leadership we need in this country: integrity, compassion, what's called real service, truth, honesty. You understand? If you understand that those are the characters that are demanded of you, if you are going to exhibit Christ-like leadership, then what issue would you have if Alan Chamate has said a bad desire too? Now, what's the purpose of Christ-like leadership? We all need to understand what's the purpose of Christ. When Jesus Christ came, what was his purpose? Jesus Christ performed a purpose, first of all, was to transform the world. It was to transform the world through transforming the individual lives of people. And because he understood the purpose, what was he prepared to do? He was prepared to give the ultimate sacrifice by dying on the cross. That's what we celebrated over one of the most significant events in the history of mankind. Because the purpose of his leadership was to transform, he was ready to grant the ultimate sacrifice. So if Alan says that, listen, I want to transform Ghana, and he's brought out his great transformational plan, and he recognizes that unless and until he is able to give a leadership which is Christ-like, then that transformation won't come. And you say you are against that Christ-like leadership, are you not an antichrist? It's not Domprey exhibiting his antichrist spirit. It's a familiar spirit. Is he not? Yeah, because if somebody says that, listen, we want a leadership which is Christ-like, and it's Christ-like, and that Christ-like, when you interrogate what it means to give leadership which is Christ-like, then you understand that kind of leadership brings about transformation. Because the world has been transformed because of what Christ did on the cross of Calvary. Our personal lives have been transformed. Is it not Ghana news right now? A leadership that recognizes that to be able to transform this country, then you need to sacrifice. You must be prepared to subjugate your personal desire for the interest of all. Are they able to subjugate their personal desires? They are driving Land Cruisers, free for buying houses for their girlfriends, and you understand, their unconscious. You understand? They don't understand what it means to sacrifice, and so they don't understand that statement. You understand? And 3, what is the strategy of that Christ-like leadership? Because when Christ came, what strategy did he use to bring about that transformation? Unlike their president, who has appointed 119 or 125 ministers. Right now, you go to some of the state agencies, you have the MD, first deputy, second deputy, third deputy. You go to GMPC and they are running shifting cultivation. Some people come in the afternoon, some go in, and yet productivity has not increased. Oh, no, come on. Productivity has not increased. Just Christ transformed the world with just 12 apostles. But what did Christ do? Because Christ understands that to give proper leadership, your strategy must be a leadership, yes, and where discipleship itself is formed. So use 12 people, just the 12 disciples have managed to transform the world. And Christ gave them an order that I just don't want you. Christ just didn't, what's God, give them handouts. He actually trained them to fish. That's why when he was leaving, after 3 years, he was able to hand over because he had already built the structures. He had already given them enough training. He had taught them to be able to fish. So when he was leaving the world and through his last commission, what he said, go you into the world, you understand, and become a fisherman.
Fishers of men.
You understand? Now, Alan is promising us a leadership where, first of all, 1, he wants to move this country beyond the duopoly. 2, he wants to bring a nation of national unity. He wants to bring a nation where there's a national agenda and we all pursue that national agenda. And he wants to use correct leadership to transform the lives of Ghanaians, soft power. Understand? And in that attempt to transform how we do things, one of the key things he's attempting to do is to change a Ghana where we recognize that when you're a leader, you can't be arrogant and that you must serve. So when somebody has put together, has gone to church and has told the entire country that, listen, we claim we are Christians because 72% of Ghanaians are Christians. You understand? It's not even enough just to have a Christian leader. But it is necessary that we have a leader who is Christ-like. You understand? We should be applauding that statement. In fact, we should be demanding that of our leaders. In any case, I've really not heard these people, and so not them pray. When His Excellency Dr. Bamia went to Nima and said, I vote on because I'm a Muslim. Bamia is a Muslim or a Christian. The last time I was discussing with Honorable, what we said he was a Chrislam. Chrislam. You understand? Well, this doesn't stand for anything. So when he didn't even focus on the values, on the principle that makes him a Muslim. Because Muslims also believe in some values. You understand? When he was talking to the book of Nima, he was talking about Muhammad-like characters. He was because Allah was talking about Christ-like character. He was just saying, because I'm a nominal Muslim or a Christian, vote for him because I'm one of your own. When their MPP, what's it called? What's his name? The head of their Muslim, the only party that has a Muslim, listen, Futa, said that this time they are going to bring us a Muslim president and a Christian vice president. What did Anodon Press say? He didn't think that was backward, or the familiar spirit clouded his judgment. The familiar spirit in the MPP clouded his judgment. When I think that there have been so many instances in the MPP where they said they were going to bring Muslim president, or it's time for Ghana to have a Muslim president. If Anodon Pre had Christ-like characters, you understand? Because you see, Christ is, he said, Jesus Christ, I'm the same yesterday, today, and forever. So one of the key principles of a Christ-like character is a character that is based on principle. A character which dictates that you cannot say this if you think that A is bad. The A is bad for everybody. It does not matter that HE was my SRC president. If A is bad and HE says A, it is bad. But because Anodon Pre is not being led by a Christ-like, is not a Christ-like leader, but rather is being pushed by a familiar spirit, an antichrist spirit. Because he's being pushed by an antichrist spirit, he does not have recourse to principle. And so when Ali Futa openly in front of everybody said that they were going to bring a Muslim leader, Anodon Pre did not see the sense, or he was not fraud. He didn't say anything wrong with that, but he has a statement. He has a problem with the statement, which is one of the best statements we've had. A statement which is demanding the best of leadership for us. A leadership that really is premised on Christ, which dictates that the character of the leader, the purpose of the leader, the focus of the leader is one whose sole aim is to bring about transformation. It's one who understands that to bring about transformation, they need a strategy that not gives handouts like they are doing, but teaches people to fish. That is the kind of leadership we need. And that is why I stand on all fours with what Alan John Kojo Martin said. That's why Ghanaians should applaud that. In fact, that should be the demand of Ghanaians, that we should demand of our leaders, that where you put yourself up to want to be leader for Ghana, then you must be ready to give us a leadership which is Christ-like. You must be ready to give us a leadership which is fueled by the right character. You must be ready to give us a leadership which has not just compassion but empathy. You must be ready to give a leadership that believes in the principle of do unto yourself, unto others what you expect others to do unto you. It must be a leadership that is fueled by the spirit of integrity. Because when you have that kind of leadership, then you give us good schools. You won't give us bogus schools and send your children to schools abroad. Then give us the right hospitals. Because you understand that every life matters. Not only your life matters. That every single life in this country matters. And every single life in this country deserves good health care. When you believe that do unto yourself do unto others what you want them to do unto yourself, then you not only do the roads that lead to your hometown, you fix every road. When you understand that Christ-like leadership means that do unto others what you do unto yourself, then you create an environment where there will be proper social justice. You create an environment where we can make the best of our talents. Then you create an environment where every single Ghanaian will have the best opportunities of seeing their ambitions met. That is the leadership we need, and that's the leadership Alan John Kojo Martin demands of himself and demands of anybody who wants to be a leader. It is clear that His Excellency Dr. Bawumia cannot give that kind of leadership. Because after all, the people that are sponsoring him, based on what you've seen, based on their utterances, are people who are being fueled by familiar spirits. And Ghanaians should say a big no to them and a big yes to Honorable Alan John Kojo Martin, whose passion, whose focus, whose desire is to give us a kind of leadership that is like Jesus Christ himself gave unto the world. The leadership that understands what it means to sacrifice yourself for the good of the whole.
Well, very, very interesting submission from Councillor Apia Dankwa of the Movement for Change. Now let me come to Ambassador Sampiale on this matter.
It was my very good friend and brother, A.B.A. Fuseni, who once said, if a man does not have a drum, he beats his chest as a drum. Right? I'm saying this because of the latest craze of using religion, age, whatever, as the criteria for somebody to be elected into office. Let's start with my friend Kojo Bawumia. He was born on Monday, I'm told, Kojo Bawumia. Even before then, bless. You remember Professor John Evans Satemos of blessed memory? Had very good friends who were pastors. They used to go to his house to go and pray. But then, because President Mills decided that he would stay in the castle, the people should come and help him with his morning devotions and the rest. Apia Dankwa sitting here, when he was not liberated and he was in the MPP, went all out.
I didn't. I beg you.
I beg you. Running away.
No, I'm not running away. I didn't.
Bless.
You saw me here.
Bless.
I didn't.
They went all out.
So please don't use my example. Use them. The
President Mills was turning the castle into what? A prayer camp. I like the term we are using now, familiar spirit.
Yeah.
Then Bawumia Kojo came to the scene and said that this time, when the Bible is read in the Flagstaff House, Quran 2 will be read. And when he won, the NPP won, he started breaking fast with the Muslims in the Flagstaff House. Don't forget, He did it. Let's remember, he was inviting Muslim colleagues and others to come to the Flag Service after Ramadan. Then I said, look, if you cannot allow President Mills to have prayers at the castle, you cannot also have a Muslim or turn the Flag Service into a mosque. Then he stopped instantly. What am I talking about? Bless, let me ask you, Japan, Germany, have they developed because there was a Christian or Muslim leader? Germany, Japan, and the rest. It's only America who says in God we believe, but in God we trust, but we can create the arms. Look, we have allowed certain concepts to overrun us that people think that they can use those concepts forever to cheat us. And one of them is religion. Today, I'm a senior Methodist, but I detest the idea that churches can be richer than the nation. I detest it. I detest it because the churches say they can do business, but they still cannot do business. I detest it. When Christian and Muslim leaders keep quiet in the face of total collapse of our country, they have kept quiet. What is Alan Chamatin saying in response to Bawumia? Because it's what Bawumia who first said that, oh, I am one of you. I was voted because I'm one of you. Right? And Alan said also that 72 or 75% of us are Christians and therefore vote for a Christian. Cancel. The Bible is a wonderful book. You see, when they were building the Tower of Pisa, Babel, what happened? It collapsed. And so the people got confused and they were speaking various languages. Yeah. This is what is happening to your party and you.
It's not happening to me. What are you talking about?
You see?
What are you talking about?
You see? Today you are sitting here. Today you are sitting here.
What are you talking about?
I've been with you on this Pan-African television for far too long. I know what I'm talking about. You and your cousin Solomon.
My brother.
Your brother is your brother.
My brother Solomon.
We have been on this same table.
Do what?
When everything about the MPP was a secret.
No, he's asking. Bless is here.
Until the Tower of Babel fell.
No, it's not true.
And you started speaking languages. But let me come to my own issue.
So talk your own thing.
We have had people who are not Muslims as a president, right? Kwame Nkrumah was not a Muslim. Hardly did we know that he was even a Christian. He developed Ghana from the point of view of me developing my country, right? Like you said, we have got road ministers and presidents who decide that it's only their roads in their hometown that is important. We don't care. We have had John Mahama, your friend and brother, who is not a Muslim, okay? But he saw that the Hajj village was such a border, and that he had to do something about it, and he did. Your own uncle Jerry Rollins, is he a Muslim? But he brought the Muslim holidays. No, so Rollins recognized Alhaji Bawumia's father. This Kojo Bawumia's father. That in spite of the fact that he was a Muslim, he identified the qualities in that man and made him the Council of State chairman. Not because he was a Muslim. So, if you have nothing to say, then you resort to religion as your first line of defense. And counsel, like we say, if a lawyer starts quoting the Constitution, then you mean that his defenses are weak. If a lawyer, his first line of defense is the Constitution, then his defenses are weak. What is it that you have represented before in this country? What is it that you are looking forward to? So they know Ghanaians are gullible, like Akufo-Addo said. We are gullible, we accept anything. So that throw in religion, they'll buy it. So people go to the extent of saying that we are establishing Zongo ministry, thinking that the people of Zongo will follow up. Right? Where NPP has landed us is not going to be solved by religion. It's not going to be. Senior, I'm saying that where MPP has landed us, religion cannot solve it. So the request for looking for a vice president who is a religious person is aimless. Coming here, Council, I saw hordes of young men and women. They said there's a traveling tour agency by the just there. Anytime I've come here, I see scores of them.
Yeah.
If you are a farmer and you sit there, some small boys come and take 2 of your planted yams. They take it away, don't talk. Next time they come and take 6. If you don't talk, by the end of the year, you will not have any farm. These young men who are leaving the country, one of them is a president in Senegal. We have discussed it.
Mm-hmm.
What is this government doing about them? What is our country, as our country, thinking about them? All we think for our youth is that because they don't have the youth in their houses, someone leave university, he will wait till his junior brother also leaves and come and stay in the same house, unemployed. Then the sister will come, 3 people unemployed. They don't have such people in their houses. Otherwise, they would think properly about the youth. Otherwise, they would think properly about the youth, not KTM kind of thinking. These young men are leaving. All the able-bodied people are leaving. The nurses are going, the doctors are going, because there's only one mad country in the world. One mad country in the world where doctors will complete university education, medical education, and they'll be unemployed. Only one mad country in the world. That nurses will appear. If you go to your village, you see nurses there. The chief compound, you see nurses there. There's only one mad country in the world where nurses who have been trained will remain home unemployed and have to come and, picket and be brutalized before they go home. It's only one mad country called Ghana. I think it's about time that all those who find ourselves in politics start thinking right. Don't go under the domain of religion. It's useless. It's useless. Because if you don't take care and you allow religion to take the president, senior, you know what will happen in another country? Our generations after generation, they haven't seen any Muslim Christian conflict. Have we? I am getting to 70 next month. I'm 70.
For real?
Yes, I'm 70 years. Yes. 17 May. I have never, I'm saying that I have never seen any conflict in any community because of religious indifferences or differences. So why is Bawumia using Islam as his only defense? Why is Allah, your master, also?
He's Christ-like. So you think that? So you don't think that? Who is Christ-like?
I'm coming the way.
Hey, why don't you want to go to a family house before?
You see, I have told you that there are other countries like Singapore and others.
They give Christ-like leadership. So Singapore, when you say Christ-like leadership, is the character. So Singapore and Germany and other people, they give Christ-like selfless leadership.
Singapore, the last time I checked, are not Christians.
No, I said Christ-like. It's not about
what not Muhammad-like.
So that's what I said. When Bama was talking, he should have said Muhammad-like. Allah says Christ-like.
But the point is that
let somebody say Muhammad-like.
I don't want to be invited to that stupidity.
It's not stupid. It's not
people
stupidity.
Believing that they should be who they are because they are Christians or they are Muslims. I don't want to be invited to that. What I want to be invited to is the fact that we want leaders who think about Ghana first and not their political parties and not about their religions. Council, you are lucky that at your age you are a trained lawyer, but there are people you went to school with who are still unemployed. There are people, I went to Senate all my life. I know that after 45 you cannot be employed in the public services.
Yeah.
And therefore there are people who have been consigned to nothing. They can never be employed in the public service for the rest of their life. What are you doing for them?
If you have Christ-like leadership, you won't have that problem.
But this Christ, I think he has been born again.
Christ like it was if
This Christ we are talking about. You see, don't invite me. Alan, I've told you I have.
No, but we are talking about Christ like. You take but Christ like leadership.
Christ-like leadership.
What does it mean?
Christ-like leadership. I'm telling you that Alan had been with this government all his life.
But he was not the president. I told you. But he was not the president.
Whether you were a president.
It was like anyway. You
see, if you put a Thomas Partey in at your centre back, you still prove that it's Thomas Partey. If you put him even as a right wing, you still prove that he's a Thomas Partey.
So check Alan as trade minister, what he did.
Cancel.
I'm asking you.
Cancel. Only you will hear.
Anyway. So anyway.
Only you will hear.
Mbappe scored 3 goals.
Today, what politicians should be worried about is not whether he's a Christian or a Muslim. Today, what politicians should be thinking about is giving a kind of leadership. Talking about duopoly or whatever it is. MPP and NDC have never been the same and will never be the same.
Why would you feel?
MPP concocted stories about NDC's failure. Now the Ghanaians have seen through that what you said were all lies.
We went to IMF.
Yes, we went to IMF, but when we went to IMF, the money that we collected for IMF. That is what your government used.
Our government.
You and who is government?
Me and you are government. It's Nadu, not our president.
Yes. The difference between NDC.
You said you are president.
No, I said our president.
Before you.
Now I'm going the MP people, the one they sponsored.
Bless. You see, that's their way of distorting people. Today, the difference between NDC and MPP is that we gave you a Mary and you have taken it to Kumasi, you cannot even assemble it. Today, you understand, we understood that collapsing the banking sector the way you did was going to cause a lot of problems.
Hey, don't go there.
I'm there. I'm already there. So bless. Like I said, if a man has no drums, he beats his chest. I don't play. Ask Bawumia, I don't play. You are saying that some people are backward, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Today the issue at stake is LGBT. Ask Bawumia to declare a stand on LGBT. I know that is more important.
But you are giving Friday. When Friday?
Friday. Yes, I told you ask Friday. Bawumia should declare a stand on LGBT. Because that issue has the tendency of destroying our moral fabric. Bawumia is quiet about it. He's just the you are a mate. Your driver is not dead. You have not dismissed. Cancel. Cancel. If your brother is sitting by you driving to Kumasi, and he starts shouting, "First year, mommy," visited by the familiar spirit. First year, mommy. What is he expecting you to?
In this case, he was co-pilot.
Wait, I'm asking you a simple question. You are going to Kumasi. There's a pilot, right, or driver. You have reached Konongo. You have not reached Kumasi yet. Then you start shouting, "Oh, first year, what are you intending? Wrecking the car or getting an accident?" Simply cry. Yeah, what to me? Yeah, what have you done? And did you see the zeal? First year, mommy, me chicken.
Say, move fast, me
when they said driver.
The driver has lost his way.
The driver has lost his way. So then we should give it to the mate.
No, in fact, the mate even led him to lose his way.
Bro. You see, the 2024 elections is not about political parties. It's not about individuals. It's about rescuing this country. Bless. Unfortunately, you media men, you have not focused discussion on the problems ahead of us. You have not focused on the problems ahead. Because as I'm speaking now, some of the loans we have rescheduled will start kicking in 2025. The bonds that we have given to people will start kicking in 2025. Have you seen the teachers' agitations and the rest? If negotiations are done today, effective date will be 1st January 2025. This is the impact of what is happening here now. It's like President Kufuor's single spine.
Yeah.
without any budget, without any consideration of the revenues, pam, single spine. And therefore, when Mills took over with Mahama, we had to spend almost all of our resources trying to adjust ourselves to the single spine. The real issue started when the big institutions like the police, fire service, army started making their demands. And that's where Mahama said, hey, and we should be careful about the demands we make. These people took it to town. Just took Mahama out of context. Today, even today, the vice president quotes it, without going to the reasons for that. Mahama, you remember, he said in parliament, that look, when the big ticket items started kicking in, that's how we saw that our economy was so vulnerable. Because we had not prepared for, with revenue to meet the single spine. Today, as we speak, most of the Euro bonds are getting matured. Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, they have borrowed loans, taking loans spanning 48 years. 48 years, what will Akufo-Addo be? By taking a loan for the youth. Come and pay. These are the challenges. You media men are not focusing attention. Are you following what I'm saying? If you focus attention on what this country is going to face from 2025, China, you know, you took about $1.5 million loan from China. You have not paid. You have not paid. $1.5 billion. You have not paid. And you have only rescheduled. They are giving you some breathing space for about 2 years. In 2 years, China will come and are you prepared for it? Are we prepared for that? A sensible leader will look at that. Like, you know, when Kufuor's Euro bond was kicking in, we created a sinking fund. Do you know that last time Setepe was explaining why we created the sinking fund? Because he knew that the Euro bond was getting matured. And if we were confronted with it, we didn't have money. So the money we have had from oil, let us create a sinking fund. At a point, the world oil prices came down in Ghana. And that is where people didn't understand Setepe. He increased fuel prices at the time the oil prices were going down. Hey, MPP, but out of that, he saved some money for the good days, in the rainy days. MPP, they don't plan. All they know is creating slogans to fit into positions. Free SHS, one district, one dam. Now even gutters are better than the dams. One district, one factory. I have a friend who foolishly followed this and went for a loan from Exim Bank to create a factory in Central Region. What my brother, my friend is going through, you have no idea. Today, IRS is there, another time ECG is there, because it's a factory, isn't it? It's a factory. You have to pay all, and they took the money to go and bring equipment from China. Today, what my brother is going through, and all others who followed one district, one factory, are going through. I rest my case. Council, you can come in.
Right. Thank you very much, Ambassador Sampia.
Now you are calling somebody familiar spirit.
Have I not used the word familiar spirit here before?
You have. I'll do a few. I'll do a few messages. Then we proceed to next topic for conversation. So right, this one, Margaret. No, I'll come to him. Margaret Enian Pontamale. Ghanaians don't want religious leaders but dedicated leaders. We don't want them to divide us. We are coexisting well. Good morning to Bless and your panelists. Thank you so much for your message there. This one here also says, Christ-like leadership is undoubtedly the best leadership that any organization or country needs. The leadership is transformative and above all serving the interest of the people. In as much as this is true, we don't have to give politicians the unpleasant duties of plunging our nation into religious war on the platform of scoring political points and exhibiting their displeasure to their mother political parties. Where was Alan when unemployment rate was skyrocketing under this government? Where was Alan when draconian taxes were being imposed on the ordinary Ghanaian? the best leader Ghana can have is John Dramani Mahama. He's honest, competent, and above all proven to be a listening father. Daniel Akpaliok from Sandema. Thank you, Daniel, for your message. My name is Businessman. Can I comment on the show? Of course you can. Businessman, you can. Right. This one here also says, good morning, comrades and patriots of Mother Ghana. Alan's call for Christ-like leadership is a perfect call. Even Mahatma Gandhi, who wasn't a Christian, agreed to the fact that Christ-like leadership is the best in the history of mankind when he said, I loved your Christ, but I hate you Christians because your character and lifestyle is not Christ-like. EJISU from Navrongo sent this one. This one here says, greetings, bless, and your noble panelists. Ambassador Sampiale is forever young, and his contributions are remarkable always. Honestly, Alan can do better if given the chance, so I'd rather say Bernard's PNC. Please remind the contact line for KODs. All right, okay. Thank you. I'll make sure I'll send that number to you. Tanko says, fantastic show. Good morning. Yes, of course it is. Thank you so much, Tanko, for your comments. Good morning, Bless. What is the talk about Christ-like leadership? Seriously, I don't understand. We all know that Alan forms part of this shambolic government who are abusing power and so on, and has failed to exhibit any Christ-like leadership to influence his people to change their ways. Christianity in Ghana is rotten. Anthony Bauer from Takrade sent this message. Sharon from Nigeria, you said you didn't get your answer yesterday. Which question did you ask? Please ask again. I'll probably provide the answer for you if I can. On that note, I'll come to Mr. Richard Niyama Matthew to also take his comments on this subject matter. Mr. Richard.
Well, thank you very much. You see, it's worrying when we decide to delve into religion. What Karl Marx has said, that is the opium of the masses. And so people are becoming more proclived to religion, even to the detriment of their own lives. People get carried along when the issue of religion is mentioned. So you realize that people are being exploited and overexploited on basis of religion. And particularly the Christendom seem to have taken that space of trying to, what a friend of mine said, that the Christian seem to have that superiority complex and try to make it look like, okay, we Christians are the only perfect people in the world. So the pastors and priests and bishops and doctor bishops and professor bishops have all now found space in that religion, and basically are even exploiting politicians. It is now becoming very difficult for anybody to want to win political power without visiting all the churches. And the challenge there is that when you visit the churches, then you need to drop fat envelopes because you want political power. And the poor people in the church do not benefit, sadly. So that was not what Christ represented. So even the religious leaders that you meet to even talk about being Christ-like themselves do not exhibit the character of that Christ-like leadership. So to me, we have allowed religion to basically destroy everything development. Because 31st night, what happens? Almost every pastor will be spoken to by God. Almost every pastor on 31st night will be spoken to by God. And interestingly, when it's election year, they give us prophecy upon prophecy, as if Ghana or probably our part of Africa are the only places where God determines who becomes the president. And yet when God chooses the president, that president never represents the interests of God in the lives of God's people.
Yes, that's right.
So when we mount that platform and try to make it look like we are governed by the religious set that we have in this country, it's worrying. As a country, we are governed just by one thing, the Constitution. We are free, and the Constitution gives us that freedom to enjoy whatever religion we want to enjoy. But we are governed by the Constitution. In this kabudu about religion and all of that, you hardly hear people say that they will respect the tenets of the Constitution, which is the guiding principle of this country. Because if the Constitution becomes our Bible, I can assure you that Ghana will be better developed than we have. Because as much as I'm a Christian and I respect the Bible and the things in the Bible is not the development paradigm for us as a country. The Bible and the things in the Bible are history about individuals and how they have related with God or how they have not related with God. We have a constitution that we've taken upon ourselves that shall guide us, and we have said that the constitution sovereignty resides in the people, and by the people the constitution was given to us. And so as a people, if you want to lead, tell me how you're going to develop this country based on the constitution. Because if we base our leadership on what the constitution says, probably we will not have issues of nepotism that we are struggling to deal with. We will not have issues with corruption because there are clearly well-defined roles that people have to play. People are ministers today and they have not declared their assets. Nobody is holding them to account for it. Rights of individuals are being abused every day, and nobody is talking about it. We have persons in position who would say, I will not develop your area because you didn't vote for me, when the Constitution requires that everybody is given fair opportunity to develop. Our education will not be struggling the way it is struggling if we probably have. So, to me, whether religion or no religion, we are a country, we are a secular state, we are governed by a set of laws. And the Bible is not one of the laws that governs this country. Otherwise, the Muslims will also talk about introducing their Sharia laws. The religious people, the traditional people will talk about what they heard from their gods. That is why we are a secular state. Whether we have 90% of the people being Christian and 10% being non-Christians, there is a need to protect the minority in all instances. And so if anybody wants to ascend any office based on the person's inclination to a religion, it becomes a problem because others would want to stay away from, because it is a very, very dangerous and slippery ground to travel. Because once you start talking about religion, people will become protective, because we are very protective of our religion. Even within the Christendom, the Anglicans are protective of their tradition as Anglican. Even between the Anglicans and Catholics that have similar religious traits, each is very protective of their faith. Within the Muslim sect, the Ahmadiyas and the other Muslim sects are all protective of their faith. And these are things that are simmering. And what has saved us is that we have a system that allows us to live together and grow together. And even at this point, we allow some level of intermarriages. Because I know in time past, you may not even be able to cross that line of even probably a Catholic marrying an Anglican, because in the royal family, one of the things they abhor is that you cannot marry a Catholic. If you are a royal, you cannot marry a Catholic. So even within the same religion, and people who believe in the same principle of Christ, we don't allow ourselves to intermarry. Jehovah's Witnesses will not allow non-Jehovah's Witnesses to marry their own people. So that religious ground is too slippery, and sadly, that is where every politician wants to head. Sadly, the politician wants the religious people to see that we are identified with your religion. The churches are building ultra-modern big churches, very beautiful churches. You enter some of the church auditorium and you wonder if this is happening in Ghana. Yet, we are not able to build industries. Look, it's sad in Tema. A lot of the companies that were there with their warehouses were turned into church building. Whereas my first time in Germany, I saw churches becoming museums and industries. In our part of the world, the companies and industries were becoming church buildings. And it is time that we start thinking about how to reverse the trend. Because you have our mothers, particularly, and our sisters, go to church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, praying to God. But God worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and rested on the seventh day. But we are praying to God every day. And the injunction God gave to Adam was that you have to tilt the ground.
Yeah.
So the churches themselves are not even encouraging people to be productive. Because people now believe in miracle more than being productive, working and getting results. So if the politicians now decide to use, and it's not like politicians have decided to use the platforms of the churches, you then reinforce that position that people have, that look, we need the churches, we need to go to church and pray so we will be successful. Because even the politicians come there and the pastors pray for them, and that is how they win elections. The pastors prophesy on them and then they win elections. So when I go and there's a prophecy around me, that prophecy will make me successful. And people have lived in abject poverty, just believing that there's some miracle that will come their way because they are in this church or because they have moved from one church to the other. Look, I have a friend who had traveled to US. She had a US visa. She had worked with a company, and sometimes you look for her, and for a whole week she'll tell you she's at the mount. What is she doing? She's waiting. Waiting for what? And you have churches that have built basically lodges, and people go there and spend weeks and months saying that they are waiting. What are you waiting for? Because God has given us everything we need here to be able to develop. God has given us everything we need. He's given us brains. One day I was like, look, you cannot continue to be waiting. When you wait, nothing will happen. So you take your visa and go to America. I supported her to buy a ticket to go. And she's doing so well. She's not waiting on God in America. She's doing so well in America today. So it's so worrying when we have decided that religion is what we are going to follow. It's okay to be religious. It's okay to have the morals that come with religion. It's okay to have that assemblage of people who believe in one common God. But we leave the lessons in the religion and we don't follow the lessons in the religion that we believe in. Because, yes, Jesus Christ had followers. But his followers were all working. Jesus Christ did not encourage anybody not to work. Otherwise, the people he met and healed them, he would have given them money. But people worked, and he encouraged people to work. when he healed the person on the Sabbath, it was work that he himself was doing. Jesus Christ came to do a work. He has a duty to perform on this earth. When his time came, and he performed that duty religiously for 3 years. When his time came, he left. We all have a duty. We've been given talent. Was it not Jesus Christ that talked about the parable of the talents? That people had been given talent to go and work and make profits out of it. And that the person who didn't make profit out of the talent, they took his talent from him and gave it to other people. God has given us all the resources to as a country, to turn the resources around and make ourselves useful country. What have we done? We've given the resources to other people. We take them raw and go and give it to them. And then we come and sit there and say we are hungry. We give our cocoa to people to turn them into chocolates. And then we go and buy the chocolates at more expensive prices. We give our golds and diamonds to people to refine them and turn them into necklaces. And we go and buy them with the little money that we have. And we live in poverty. So God is taking away what we have and giving it to people who are serious to use them. And then we come back and we say, oh, we are believing in God for miracle. What miracle again do we want when in the ground God has given us gold, He's given us timber, He's given us fertile land to feed ourselves, yet we depend on others to feed us. We go cap in hand begging for people who only have good weather condition for 3 months in a year and have basically snow and fall and all of that for the rest of the year. And then they plant and then they feed us. We go beg them for food. They raise poultry. We go and buy poultry in that weather. So basically the talent that God has given us, we've given the talent away and we are sitting down and we are expecting miracle. And sadly, our politicians are not speaking to the religious leaders that you cannot continue to enslave the minds of the people forever. And that free the people, let them use the talents that they have to work. We have too many young people wasting away in our churches. And we don't have any policy to try and get them out there to do things for themselves. The churches themselves are not becoming productive. They are happy seeing people come to fast the whole day and pray, and then the pastor comes and is like a demigod. And the politicians also see the pastors to be demigods, so leaders will go to them and say, can you pray for me because I want to win elections? We need the people to vote for us, but we need the people to be productive. Because when the people are productive, when the young people are productive, life will not be difficult for the politician. Politics has become so expensive because the young people are not working. So if you want to run an election, you need so much money because every young person that follows you would want you to give him something small. If young people are productive and they are making their own money, they will make their own contribution to the development of our policy. And so people will not be able to exploit them. And then you won't have members of parliament struggling, taking loans, and who have to be corrupt in order to be able to fulfill campaign issues. So it's worrying the way religion had become, where religion is taking us. And unfortunately, persons who are supposed to be in leadership are giving religion that oxygen to burn. And it will consume all of us. It will get to a point we will be consumed because we are not dealing with, we are not saying regulate religious activity, but we need to be able to get people empowered. We need to get people who have been enslaved by our quest to have miracles, move away and get them into some production. Look, the churches, the churches take so much money that they could, even when churches decide that we are all going into agriculture, the churches should be able to do so well that we should be able to feed ourselves as a country and export. Ghana has ever fed itself. Achiampong and Operation Feed Yourself fed Ghana and exported grains out of Ghana. It is possible when we say we want to do it. The worst things happen under religious cover. And it's gotten to a point where religious leaders had even become so powerful that they act beyond the laws. Seriously, now some of them move with police escorts.
Yeah. Religious leaders?
Yes. They don't join the queue anymore, because when he gets there, the people, Bishop, you are here. And so people will, yes, it's okay to give reverence. Families are breaking up because wives now respect their pastors more than they respect their husbands at home. Even though the Bible makes the wife, the very Bible we read, makes the husband the head of the family, now pastors have become heads of family, and it is their instructions that wives obey and not the husbands. The way we have carried religion and the way we are handling religion, we need to do something about it. And this is not the time for politicians to give that steam to religion, because it is not productive.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Matthew. We are pressed with time. We have just 7 minutes to end the program, but two minutes each on this raging topic: alleged 12-year-old marriage at Nungua, AG orders investigation. Alleged 12-year-old marriage at Nungua, AG orders investigation. I have two lawyers and a fisherman with me in the studio. So let me start with the lawyers. Ambassador.
The French lawyer. I'm official.
Yesterday, Bagomia, he went to Bishop Uzibempe's place.
He was given a seat.
He was given a seat. I thought he was going to collect the horn.
The one with the oil, the one that they poured the oil.
Yes, the horn of disaster. The horn that was given to Akufo that had led us to this place. Yes, the poured oil. You see, that's what Rishta is saying. You know? And
That's what I'm also saying.
if the religious leaders think they have become so powerful and allowing politics, we shall play the politics in their churches, they will not survive. I'm talking particularly about churches that have coming to take the grandstand that we have the numbers and therefore we should dictate. Brethren, what has happened in Nungua is a test case of who we are as a people. And for the facts you all know, but I would err on the side of the traditional leaders and what they have done. I see all of you are drawing your necks, and so listen to me. Here are a group of people, Ghanaians, some of us, are ready to defend LGBTQ. You can marry a goat, isn't it? You can marry a dog. You can marry whatever. But the same people who are defending LGBTQ are condemning the traditions of a people and narrowing down to what an MC, a woman MC, was saying, without waiting for the traditional rulers, the custom owners, to explain what happened in Nungua. I've read a statement by the council, and I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt, that what he's saying is the truth. Because in our own villages, your village, we have got some of the traditions like we Konfuba, Bosomeba, we Isuba. Bless, do you understand what I'm saying? We have got all those people in there. And there are facts coming out that this Dulemo has two other wives who are even older than this one.
Actually, I know the rule. I even know the rule.
So they're not married to this one.
They are married to the shrine, the god. Are you following what I'm saying?
Actually, know the rule. I know the rule. I know his children.
His children.
I know.
So he's not married to them.
No.
The shrine is married to them.
According to the traditions, and in our own hometown, maybe you are not from a village,
What I'm talking about?
You see, if you are from a village, you know that these ancient customs, you may call them barbaric or whatever it is, but they exist.
And okay.
Well, the change you have brought to this country, I would have better lived in that.
Who brought
These changes that you have brought?
I've not been a minister, but you have been a minister.
Let me finish my point. What I'm saying is that
what
the AG has said, for me, is the right thing to go, to investigate.
Yeah.
All right? And I strongly condemn people who readily to the street condemning the Ga people and their traditions, including, unfortunately, the overlord himself, the Ga Manche, who also waded in without listening to the Nunga people.
A point of correction.
Yes, sir.
The Ga Manche is not the overlord of all the Ga people.
But he also waded in.
Yeah, but it's not the overlord of all.
He's Ga Manche. He's just
Ga Manche, the Ga state.
But
there are other Nunga and the rest.
So we need to establish that Gamashin, La, Nungwa, Tema. They are before Osu and Teshin.
Yeah.
They are states on their own.
Original, and they are states on their own.
And they have their own customs.
No, the customs are about the same. But
how Teshi people celebrate
they are independent.
May be different from how Gamashi.
Yeah, so basically,
so they are independent.
You finish and then I would.
I think they are independent of themselves.
Yeah,
isn't it?
They are
One of the customs of these Lungwa people is saying that we have 3 deities, and as part of our tradition.
You don't have time.
Yeah,
let's be brief. We have just a few minutes.
It took part of my time.
Kindly grant me some 5 minutes. I
now we should learn. You should learn.
I think that when the matter is properly investigated, the real customs of the people will come out. And I would, let me repeat, err on the side of the customs of the people. Look, what we are doing to the Ga people is most unfair. It's most unfair. We are here, we have taken their lands. Now their language is even getting extinct. Now we are attacking their culture. In some jurisdictions in this country, a chief can say that I'm celebrating so, and everybody should have a curfew. Nobody speaks. In this country as we are. Lisa, you know, a chief can say that I'm celebrating my 10th anniversary, there should be curfew, and everybody spends curfew that night. Why are we doing this thing to the gas?
A few days ago, shops were closed.
Shops were closed.
In Accra, so you remember what I said? Tell me it's time.
Other region that's all too.
What I'm saying is this. It's unfortunate we don't have enough time. Yeah. But my first point of disagreement with whatever is happening is that those who are making so much noise against the Nunga people, what have they said about the lady who lost his daughter or son at the Tema teaching hospital?
Yeah,
General Hospital as a result of that. Is that not also a human rights issue? What are they saying about LGBT? Pastors should now celebrate a man and a dog marrying, but a chief, traditional council, whatever, a tradition, cannot say that a woman can be betrothed to a deity, which has happened in all religions, all over the years. These things have happened. I support the Nunga people to maintain their custom. I support the Nunga people to go forward and express their religion the way they should express it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ambassador Sampiale.
There's no evidence that the 63-year-old man was going to sleep with a little girl.
Right.
And no, you said the point.
Yeah.
That the other women have married their own husband, and the other wives of the deity, they have their own husbands.
Oh, beyond
right.
Yes,
Let's proceed. Let me come to council. Briefly, just 2 minutes. I beg you. No, it's 10-1. I beg you. I beg you. It's 10-1. Briefly, 2 minutes. Don't take us off. So please.
When I came, we were talking about transformation.
when we have Christ-like leadership, and when we say Christ-like leadership, it's not about religion. That's it. When we talk about Christ-like leadership, it's not about religion. It was when Jesus Christ himself came into this world, he had issues with the religion of the day. Understand? Christ condemned religion. Yeah, Christ himself. Yeah, religion is human.
Did Christ condemn people's customs?
No. I just said one sentence and
you have 1 minute more.
You are so unfair. If you are led by
today,
Christ, like
if I'm unfair today, I'm okay with that.
You'll be unfair.
Just today,
anyway, because 1 minute I can't say anything about it. So I can't say
something.
So all I'll say is, you understand? At one point we are talking about religion, and at one point, you see, we want to do tribal things here. The point is that there's a constitution, there's a law of this country. You understand? And this matter is being handled according to the laws of this country. So, in full support to what he said, let's allow investigations to be had. I don't think it's about the Ghana state. In I was not born in Accra. In Yogawa, if you want to lenga, you lenga. You can you speak? You've stayed in Accra for more than 6 years. You can't speak one word of Ghana. She in your Ghana. Yeah. So you see, I'm not an every person. I'm not even. So you see, hold on. So if we live a Christ-like life, which is not religious. One, we would love each other. Two, I want Rista to treat me the way I'll treat him. You are called respect. You have empathy, and when you want to lead, you understand that it is service. And so, Ghanaians, to end, we must all aspire, first of all, to live Christ-like lives. Two, we must all aspire to choose a leader who gives Christ-like leadership.
But
because I'm going to finish. Because Singapore and Germany, their leaders are all Christ-like. Wonderful. Because if they have Christ-like, this issue is one.
No, you see, we the Ghanaians feel slighted by.
Are you a Ghana or a Nungama?
I'm a Ghana.
Sorry.
I'm a Ghana from Tema. Feel slighted by what is happening. Let me tell you something. I remember I was going to. There was a case at the police station. I wrote that I'm a native of Tema. The policeman insisted that I should write I'm a native of Tema. Newton was like, what are you talking about? I'm a native of Tema. Tema existed before Nkrumah. You get it? Ajekojo, Kubekro, Sabi, Zenu, Ashaima are all part of indigenous Tema land. Nungwa existed before Nkrumah. Part of Tema lands and part of Nungwa lands and part of Bom land were acquired under the Compulsory Acquisition Act of 1951. We existed, we have our culture, we have our identity. Unlike probably the Asantis that has one, our settlement are such that is why Nungwa is Krowo traditionally, and Tema is Pele. Yes, Tema is Peshi. So we have our a distinct name. The original settlement, Gamashin La.
But you explain something about the Teshi.
Yeah, so Teshi is an amalgamation. It's a latter settlement. You get Teshi and Osu are latter settlement. The original settlements are Tema, Nungwa, and Nungwa settled first.
Okay.
La and Gamashi.
Yeah.
Those were the original settlements. Teshi and Osu are latter settlement. But we are unfortunate to be the capital, and like we say, Ablekimaba Kumao, people have come, and our culture and religion is being diluted. But it doesn't mean that we've lost our identity.
Yeah.
There are intermarriages. Yes, my mom is an Akan.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that I lose my identity as a Gan. Wow. If things happen and we believe that it's not been done well, there is a way of going about it to deal with it. But to create the impression that we don't know what we are about and that we are, and people are saying that the Ulomo is a pedophile and all of that, it's not fair. Because you see, if people become agitated, if people are suppressed for so long, they'll become agitated. And when the Ghana people become agitated and they start defending
themselves,
it becomes a problem. And particularly the politicians. I saw something on Facebook where the Ulomo's picture as contesting for NDC had been taken, and then just posed on his current picture. Is currently the Ulomo? The Ulomo is basically the overlord.
Yeah.
And so if he was doing politics and now he's been made the Ulomo, there are people in various political parties who have been made chiefs in their hometown. When they are performing their rights and they are defending their culture, you don't say that because they belong to a party or a party B, now they cannot perform that role.
In fact, not to, maybe I think that you should add, not the council is a theocracy. So the Ulama are actually the...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That.
So, like the Tildanes.
Yes.
So you,
I just want him to make that point.
When you attack our Ulama publicly, you are attacking us.
Yes.
Every Ghana is so, even though we are individual states, every Ghana state has a Ulama. So when you attack our Ulama, you are attacking us. That is supposed to be... I remember I asked my grandfather, what is in the Ulama, what we call Bachun. And when we say Bachun, it means Balochun. The Ulama is supposed to be the prophet. So the prophet in Ghana is Balo. So Bachun is Balochun. So he said, oh, it's only a Bible and a well containing water. So the Ghanaians lived along the Israelites and they understand the Levites.
Right.
So the Romans are just like the Levites. That's why they dress like that. So people need to understand our culture and just stop saying the things they are saying.
Right. Thank you very much.
By the end of the week,
to extend this conversation, hopefully tomorrow on the newspaper review segment of Good Morning Africa. My name is Koko Alomaso. As usual, I start in for my boss Kwame Usudan. So thank you.
Truly African.
My name is Amma Pratt. We are all here this morning in this lovely space for one reason, which is to protect the protest. So let me start by welcoming every one of you here. If you are here in this room, then like me, this issue is one that means something to you. Hopefully at the end of today's session, we would have solidarized, our feelings about the issue. More action would happen. We all know what's going to happen. We are going to launch something very, very important. But for me also, it offers an opportunity of learning. So hopefully by the time that we are out of this space, you would know more, about your rights, your obligations, your duties as a citizen, where something as crucial and as important as protest is concerned. It is said, actually no, I say, that silence becomes a sin. A sin. When you are quiet, in moments when you should be protesting. So this is very important. We are all here at the request of Amnesty International. So I think it's right that, we are told the reason why we are here. We are briefed why we have been summoned here. By no means a person, no less a person, by the country director herself, Madame Genevieve Partington.
Good morning, everyone, and you're most welcome. I would just like to acknowledge Honorable Diana Asomnaba Dapa, the Deputy Attorney General and Minister for Justice. You're most welcome. She's representing the presidency this morning. And then Honorable Jan, who is the president of the Accra Market Women. You are most welcome, Madam. Thank you so much. I'll leave the MC to be doing the rest. So, Your Excellencies from the Diplomatic Corps, fellow advocates and partners from civil society organization, Ghana Police Service, Ghana Prison Service, the Board of Amnesty International Ghana, members of Amnesty International Ghana, human rights advocates in this room today, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to welcome you all to the National Dialogue on Protests, which marks the official launch of Amnesty International Ghana's Protect the Protest campaign. Protests have hitherto taken the center stage of government, both democratic and otherwise. In September 2023, a group of disgruntled Ghanaians took to the streets to demonstrate due to the economic hardships during that period. During that protest, about 49 persons, including journalists and lawyers, were arrested, with the police claiming that they were not being peaceful. Bystanders and others took real-time videos that showed the hostility of the police at the time. The police tell one story, and the protesters tell a different story. Who do you believe? Ladies and gentlemen, this is sometimes the reality when demonstrations happen across the world. Just this February, thousands of our dear brothers and sisters marched onto the streets again of Dakar in the first authorized protest since their president decided to postpone the presidential elections. They held up placards reading, "Free Senegal, respect the election date, and no to a constitutional coup d'etat." And finally, some way, somehow, democracy prevailed, and they are finally holding their presidential elections. And as we speak, they are in the process of declaring Bassirou Diomaye Faye the new president of Senegal. Back in the day, protests in Africa were for independence. Now, contemporary protests in Africa are influenced by high cost of living, participatory governance, erratic power supply, unemployment, poor road infrastructure, and corruption. It is a fact, and statistics show, that in most cases, protests do bring about positive change. Unfortunately, protests all over the world, including democratic states like Ghana, have never been more under attack than they are today. Our quest to campaign for the rights of protesters, which is anchored in the provisions of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 20, and Article 21 of our 1992 Constitution, seeks to make sure that people in Ghana and beyond take part in peaceful protests and have their voice heard safely without any form of repercussions. In Ghana, when you look at a protest or demonstration, you have several people involved. The police, sometimes the military, which we will discuss here today, whether it's a good or bad thing. And we have bystanders and, of course, the protesters. Our Protect the Protest campaign plans to engage and empower all of these stakeholders, so nobody is left behind. This year being election year for Ghana, we envisage several protests being held and the need for all stakers to be prepared in that regard. As a forward-thinking democracy, Ghana has established in our constitution that citizens of Ghana have the right to peaceful assembly. Yes, sometimes authorities may try to suppress peaceful protests through various means such as excessive force, arrests, and intimidation. But Amnesty International Ghana will ensure legal advocacy as a tool for protesters to know their rights and to challenge any unlawful actions by authorities. We will also continue to bring attention to cases of repression through media campaigns, diplomatic pressure, and reports. When it comes to the protesters, Peaceful protests are sometimes infiltrated by individuals or groups with intentions to incite violence, leading to a loss of credibility for the protest movement. At Amnesty, we will be supporting protest organizers such as the Market Women to ensure clear messaging, emphasize the importance of nonviolence, and set clear guidelines for conduct during protests. Protesters themselves can monitor for suspicious behavior and report any individuals inciting violence to organizers or authorities. Amnesty will also train protesters on best practices for protest observation, because we can't always rely on journalism. When it comes to journalism, however, sometimes mainstream media may misrepresent or ignore peaceful protests, leading to a lack of public awareness or understanding. At Amnesty, we believe in the power of social media. Activists are always encouraged to share real-time updates and videos of protests to ensure that events are well documented and that alternative sources of information are available on protests so Ghanaians can get the full perspective. We are also working on a video documentary, which you will see later on, and it will give us a history of protests so far in Ghana and its impact on our country. This is something that Amnesty has really invested in, but we'll only see maybe an excerpt of it of about 10 minutes. I'm looking forward to today's discussions as we have experts in the field of law, human rights, journalism, and security who will touch on the various aspects to peaceful assembly. And if Ghana is doing a good job in that regard, I believe the discussion today will enable us as a nation understand the intricacies to peaceful assembly, and as stakeholders, we go home reflecting how we can contribute to this campaign and continue to ensure that citizens of Ghana have the right to peaceful assembly. On that note, I'm wishing that the discussions here today are fruitful and productive. Welcome to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Genevieve Patterson, Country Director, Amnesty International. Please do permit me to acknowledge, with us here, our partners, Legal Aid Commission, SHRAD, Action Aid, POS Foundation, GACC, Cybersecurity Authority, Media Foundation of West Africa, Human Rights Reporters, and the Accra Market Women.